I think moving away from Steigen and going back to why you made it, it was about the way you felt with athletics and the controversy. Elaborate on.
Yeah, so I mean, running's a very individual sport, and sometimes people, which I definitely felt like, I didn't come from an athletics background, and I found it very difficult to connect with anyone.
Yeah,
and I can pretty much say no one really contacted me from any organisation until I made the Com Games.
Really, that's sad.
Yeah. So it's not a good. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for people with good talent to have no direction.
And I think that just goes to show the culture. I guess the fact that they wait until you've made it to the big time and then go after.
Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. So it's I got in the VIS after I made the Com Games, and it was just, I didn't like it. I mean, you obviously don't get paid, which I didn't care so much at the time, which a lot of athletes don't care. But
I think to make it to the big time, if you look at like the training involved, you deserve a bit of coin.
You do. Like, and on reflection, and you look at, I ran in front of 92,000 people who would have paid good money.
For the tickets? The athletes that they pay the ticket to watch the athletes. They get nothing.
They get nothing. And the Olympic Games is even worse. The Olympic Games is, I think, one of the biggest telecast rights on the planet. Yeah. And the performers don't get anything.
What do you think that is? Is that just
I think it's a culture thing that it's an honour to represent your country.
Yeah,
and it is. Mm-hmm. And I think that the system plays on that to kind of abuse it a bit, and
take advantage of it.
Take advantage of the athletes and what they're actually doing to get there. And I think it's detrimental to the sport personally, because it's holding the sport back, because you'll get someone with really good talent who has a future in AFL or has a future in another sport that's going to pay them
big money,
a career.
And they'll go to that instead of the running.
That's right. And so, I don't think athletics offers you a career as such. It is getting a little bit better, but still nowhere near what it should be.
Yep.
So I was annoyed at that, and I thought, well, I will start Steigen, and I would like to put on some meets for prize money.
Yep, that's
because for me, it's a way of giving juniors a pathway to success and a pathway to glory, to be heroes of the next generation coming through. So I think, you see all these sports, like I love athletics. I think it's the greatest sport on earth.
Yeah.
People always say, soccer's the most participated sport, but running is.
You see people
everyone
runs. Walking all the time. You don't see people kicking a soccer ball on the park.
Yeah, running is the most natural sport there is.
Yes.
And, everyone can participate.
Yeah.
And it's just held back by that lack of what I would call money.
And the greed, I guess.
Yeah, and so there is a greed at the top, and that holds people back. And there's also a large amount of what I'd call like silliness that goes with it. When you're going into the call room and people are putting tape on you, like over logos and stuff. It's really silly.
What is the point of that?
So and it's like it's costing athletes a career.
Yes.
So I remember Craig. Craig was in my race, and Craig was sponsored by Nike at the time, and they're putting tape on his socks and on
covering up the
Nike tip.
Who was that? The athletics in general.
That's the rules around the athletes and the officials, and I think Athletics Australia's team was made by Diodora at the time, and so really, what's Nike going to offer Craig when he's wearing Diodora on his grand final? Like when he's running in the Com Games at the MCG and he's wearing Diodora, it's not a good look.
No, it's not.
And especially, so that alone is costing him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And all for the sake of Athletics Australia getting a uniform. And I don't think that's worth it.
No.
You know, so
I think, I agree with that.
I really do believe in the freedom to wear your own sponsored gear.
And I mean, talking about that, how that, you know, the fact that I guess the athletes aren't really rewarded for the fact that they've spent their whole life making it to the top stage, and the fact that they're not rewarded, you said that'll, you know, decrease.
It flows down, yeah, definitely.
What do you think the future is of running?
Well, I do believe that it can change.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I do believe it can change. I always put it out there, and I'm happy for someone to do it. But I always said, like, if someone like Nike put on a 1,500 meter race for $1 million on the same night as the Olympic final, 1,500, they would change athletics.
Yes.
Because people would say, why aren't the best runners running at the Olympics?
Exactly.
Because it already happens in the marathon. You get a lot of Africans who are elite marathon runners who would rather win London, New York, Boston over the Olympics because they get reward. They get reward.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting big money for.
Do you think that running, well, it would have to be one of the sports that you put so much effort in for, I guess, little return? Do you think
very little return and not enough to make a career out of? That's for sure. Unless you're at the very top.
Yeah.
You know, I sometimes use Usain Bolt as an example. Usain Bolt was sponsored by Puma, and Puma sponsored the Jamaican team, which was great.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think Usain Bolt was on about 8 million. But Usain Bolt at the time was, I would say, probably, you know, the elite athlete on the globe.
Well, was he the fastest at the time? Was that before?
Yeah. No, at the time he was the fastest for many, many years. But then you get an elite basketballer that's not on 8 million, on 350 million.
I mean, you get a kicker in the NFL who are the most useless person on the field. The only reason they go on the field is to kick. Yeah. And they get paid 12 mil a year. Yeah. I agree with you. I think you put that into perspective perfectly, actually.
Yeah, like Usain Bolt is like the pinnacle of
sport.
I mean,
I reckon he's more influential than Ronaldo or, you know, the big...
like everyone, at the time of the Olympics, everybody knew Usain Bolt.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Even people that didn't follow running, they knew Usain Bolt because he's the quickest. And for him to only get 8 mil, I think it's a bit of a scam.
I mean, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot, but for what he deserves, the effort that he put in, and now he's at soccer. He left running and went to soccer, and he'd probably be on more money doing
And
that.
the thing is that the person next in line under Bolt, they won't. They're probably on 1 million, not even that. No. Like it's a huge drop off. So the person who makes the Olympics, and you know, they're lucky to make it. You know, that's what they say. They're not getting anything.
No,
and
they're just showing up.
Yeah, they're just showing, and it's not representative of the effort they've put in.
Yeah,
they do deserve.
And obviously, a medal's great if you make the podium. That's a good reward, but I think I agree with you perfectly.
Yeah. So that's